Welcome back to the channel, everyone. What I'm going to be doing today is a kit review on this pack right here, which is the Becker Patrol Pack Mk2 from Bongo Gear. A little bit of background on this pack then. So Mr. Ethan Becker designed this pack back in the 1980s. It was designed as a result of some of his friends that were Vietnam veterans saying to him that they didn't really like the Alice pack, and I can understand that. What they were looking for was something similar but better suited for operating in operational environments, specifically in the jungle. So this was designed to carry up to 50 pounds worth of gear, as quoted, beans, bullets and water, for up to 3 days operationally in harsh environments. And what they wanted, it wasn't a backpack, you know, for people hiking and stuff. It was for basically getting through harsh environments in places like the jungle, and they wanted it to hold up to the battering that it'd take of getting through all that sort of vines, the thorns and all that sort of stuff in the jungle. So that was the reason behind it. Initially, I believe it was made by Eagle Industries, and then later by Black Hawk, and then they kind of stopped making it. So Bongo Gear picked up the baton and started making this again recently, and what they've done is they've completely updated the pack. So there's lots of functions and features on this pack which I'll go through as part of this video, that basically modernized this and made it much more suitable for today's soldiers, and also for people just wanting to go out in the woods bushcrafting and doing survival, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do next then is I'm going to talk through some of the specs of the rucksack, okay? So this isn't made of Cordura, it's made of a slightly different material, and it's a bit of a mouthful. So it's made from Lafayette rebag polyester, all right? Now the choice for that material then, there's a couple of reasons for it. Firstly, it's to keep the weight of the pack down slightly, because it's quite a complex pack, as you'll see as I go through, but also it was specifically designed for use in the jungle, and this is made in Colombia, and the Colombian military and the police forces and people like that use this in the jungle in, you know, harsh environments. And this material doesn't soak up water like nylon does, okay, and also it doesn't expand like nylon can do to a degree, so that's why they chose this material. Okay, it weighs £6 and 6 ounces, which is around about 2.9 kilos, so not a lightweight pack for the size of it, and it's 42 litres in size. That's the capacity of the whole bag, all right? So I'll say not a super lightweight pack, but for the amount of functions and features you get on the bag, all the pouches and stuff, it's pretty decent, to be fair. It's available in lots of colours too. So as you can see here, this is in this rather sexy tiger stripe camouflage, which I love. It's also available in green. It's available in multicam. It's available in quite sort of a medium, sort of darkish brown. I think they call it, yeah, Kodiak brown. That's right. And they make it in black, and they also do it in orange for search and rescue. So there's a whole load of options for colours as well, for people, you know, depending on what their needs are and what they're going to be using it for. They've also made this pack as part of a series now too. So Bongo Gear have kind of picked it up a little bit more. They've made a smaller version of this. So this is the medium one. This is the standard Becker Patrol Pack. They've also made one called a Raider, which is a little bit smaller. It doesn't have these two pouches on the outside. It has like a big flat pouch and another kind of flat pouch here that are both zipped. And then they make a bigger one, which is the Becker Patrol Pack Large, and that's around about 65 litres, and that's designed to be mounted onto a frame. They don't include the frame with it, but it's designed to be mounted on a frame so that you can carry much more weight, lots more volume. It's $285 from the Bongo Gear website. That's how much it costs, which isn't too bad, to be fair. You know, it's not cheap, but it's nowhere near as expensive as some of the other rucksacks out there. Again, for the amount of functionality you get with this pack, is pretty decent, to be fair. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through all the kind of functions and features of the pack, and, you know, how I see it being used. Okay then, going from top to bottom of the pack on the front. On the very top, you've got this great little pouch here. They call this the Claymore pouch. Really good little pouch, really good for accessing all your smaller bits and pieces. So in here I'd have things like my head torch, maybe a first aid kit. I've got a repair kit that I usually carry in the top of a pouch like this, a spoon, things like that. What you've got is two really good little zip pulls with these handles on, with a very good chunky zip. Okay, so that's great. On the bottom of that pouch then, here, you've got laser cut drainage holes. Okay, so they're really good. What they've done is they've eliminated the need for grommets. You can just see them there, hopefully. Yeah, they've eliminated the need for grommets, and the reason being is they can get broken out in the field. All right, so that's the top pouch. Then you've got these two pouches here. Now, initially I was a little bit skeptical about these pouches, because I know that the idea is to put M16 or Armalite magazines in, and personally I wouldn't carry magazines in a rucksack because you can't reach them, can you? So personally I thought these were a little bit strange, and I'd rather have another pouch like this or just extend this pouch out, but they do come in quite handy for smaller items. So I've got my water filter here, okay, with the water bag, and that fits in there perfectly. And then in this one I've actually got a small first aid kit, and they fit in perfectly. And you know, both of those items are handy, you can get to them really quickly. You can see there on these pouches then you've got a draw cord, so that cinches down to help keeping the stuff as secure there. And then you've got a side release buckle, easy to get in and out of. One thing that they didn't include on these pouches then, on this model, is they didn't put any strap tidiers, which is a bit of a shame, because the straps kind of hang down here and get in the way a little bit when you're getting into the main rucksack. But not a problem, I taped them up. Okay, on the top lid then, in between the pouches, you've got a nice strip of Velcro here, so you can put on things like cat's eyes, you know, morale patches and stuff like that, so that's great. The top lid is accessed via these two side release buckles here, and on these straps they've put some strap tidiers. So this I think this is one wrap strap tidier, which is great to tidy away your straps. So that's that there. That opens up, and what you've got here is a mesh pouch in a sort of lid pouch, so you can put items in there, and this is kind of slightly padded, so that's quite good for putting in things, valuable stuff or optics and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. I'll talk about the internal parts of the pack in a minute. Up here then you've got 3 layers of webbing, the PALS webbing, so you can stick an external pouch on here, and they do actually sell matching pouches, you know, in tiger stripe and stuff like that. The company does. I've chosen not to use that because I'd rather keep that clean, but it's a great option, you know, great way of adding extra pouches on there. You can also obviously put things like carabiners on there if you need to like attach stuff on the outside of your pack. So these straps attach here, and there's actually a tunnel that goes behind these two pouches here, so if you wanted to carry something like an axe, then you can just push that through, and that will keep that item there nice and secure. Okay, and there's loads of things that these will work for, you know, things like machetes, walking poles, big knives, all sorts of stuff, and these are really handy. There is also, I forgot to mention, there's a tunnel behind these two top pouches here. I do think that's probably not as useful there, but you know, each to their own. I wouldn't have something tucked behind them, but it doesn't do any harm having it there. Alright then, so going on to the lower part of the pack, and I really like this. So as you go down, you've got these 2 pouches here, and I love these pouches. They're really handy for keeping stuff that you want to get to quickly. I've actually got 2 water bottles here just to show you the different types of water bottles that will fit into these pouches. Okay, so again, you've got this draw cord here that will cinch down to keep stuff secure, but then you've got a collar, a snow collar there as well. So if you have smaller items, it's going to stop them. If you're running around or whatever, it will stop things from just falling out of that pouch. It also gives another layer of protection to your kit. So if you were working in a tropical environment and you've got bugs and creepy crawlies, it's not going to 100% keep them out, because there's always going to be a tiny hole there, but it'll do a good job of, you know, keeping bugs out of your kit. So in there's one of these big canteens, which is, you know, just to show the size of that there, big sort of Nalgene type canteen. And on this one, I've got a British Army issue 58 water bottle. So that fits in there perfectly. And I've also got a metal mug in there too. So that's just to show the size of that pouch. These snow collars as well, I think this is really nice that they've included these in Tiger Stripe. I know it's only something, you know, it's aesthetic, but it matches really nicely. Normally on these sort of things, if you have a camouflage pack, this would just be a plain colour, but they've matched it, which I just think it looks really good. Going around the pouches then, these two pouches, what you've got is a cinch strap, okay? So what this does is, if you've got something in there that needs cinching down, if you've got something that was going to rattle or whatever, then you can cinch it down, and there's an elastic bungee there as well. And what that does is it just keeps the strap from flopping around. So these are really handy. Coming around the sides of the pack slightly then, what you've got is, firstly here, you've got a zipped access. So that gives you access to the side of the pack. So if you had, say, a dry bag with, say, I don't know, waterproof jacketing or something, you could get to that quickly and easily. So that's really handy. And something that's really unusual is they've included these grommets here and then paracord here that match up. So if that zip was to break, then you've got the option of actually tying it up in the field and doing a field repair, which is really, it's a really good idea, and you know, it's quite an unusual thing. I can't see that zip breaking though. You can see that's quite a heavy duty zip. Okay, alongside here then what you've got is some daisy chain webbing. Again, ideal for just strapping extra things to your rucksack if you needed to, using those. Again, you know, things like carabiners with, say, a loop line or something would fit on there really nicely. And then coming around to the side pouches then, what you've got is these side pouches are really good. So these are slightly bigger than the ones on the front then, and these are great for, say, a basher, a small basher, or a waterproof jacket. So that's the sort of things I carry in these. Again, quick access for your gear, really handy and good for organising your kit. Coming round slightly then is you've got more daisy chain webbing on this side here. So if you wanted to, you could flatten this pouch and use this area here to put on something like a roll mat, you know, or even a tent, and you could use straps to go pass through that daisy chain webbing. Again, all of these pouches, all these four on the front and these two here, they've all got pass-throughs. So what I've got here then, this is a big old knife. As I said, it'd be great for attaching something like a machete. And what they've done is the compression strap here is in a perfect location to just put through, you know, something like a belt loop like you've got there. So you don't necessarily have to use these layers of Powell's webbing, but they, you know, they are handy if you've got a molly pouch. But if you haven't, then you can just pass that through there, and that will stop it from falling out the bottom. So you've got the pass through there, but you've also got the security here of keeping it in place, which I think's perfect. Obviously that can compress the gear inside too. So you've got a pass through there. You've actually got another pass through behind this pouch here. So you've got the one at the back and then another layer there. I thought this was a little bit strange, and I think this would have been better if they'd sewn the bottom up, so you had like a captive little slip pouch there that you could put something like a say a folding saw in or something. But I've spoken to the guy that makes the pouches, the packs, and he's taken that in consideration, and he said he's going to incorporate that into further designs. So it's nice that they're listening to customer feedback. Okay. This is the waist belt that I've just kind of tucked away underneath the straps. I'll go into that in a bit more in a minute. But just on the bottom of the pack here, you've got another compression strap, which is great for securing items like you've got there, and it's obviously there to compress the pack if need be. Okay. What we've got here then, we've got two layers on the base here then. 2 layers of Powell's webbing, again there for attaching other items if you need it. And then what I've got here is a grab handle. Now I'm kind of not 100% sold on this. It is handy for grabbing it out the back of vehicles and stuff, but personally I think this may be a little bit of a pain if you're moving through close terrain like the jungle. It's possibly going to catch on things. So if I was serving, I'd kind of try it out, see how it was, and I may cut that off. But it's definitely handy if you're grabbing it out the back of vehicles. On the bottom of all the pouches then, you've got all these pouches have got these laser cut drainage holes as well. So on all 4 of these pouches, they're all the same. So again, if you're working in the jungle and moving through rivers and streams, the water's just going to drain straight out of there, and you haven't got that problem of grommets getting broken and potentially coming off your pack and creating bigger holes and stuff. Bottom of the pouch then, bottom of the pack, you've got 4 lines of Powell's webbing, which are, you know, perfect if you wanted to attach something on the bottom, like a roll mat or a tent or something like that. Personally, that's not something I do, but it does give you that option of extending your pack for more carriage. So that's the base of the pack. Okay, talking about the back of the pack then. At the top, you've got a nice grab handle here, nice and flat, doesn't bother your neck. Here, we've got a hydration port hole covered by Velcro, which is great, right in the centre, so you can actually direct it either way. Carriage system then. This wasn't the original carriage system, it's not the normal one that they have on their packs, but they do sell these as well. So the original one had like a yoke system, so it had a piece of material coming across the centre here with like a curve. I didn't like that, I didn't get on with it. It felt like it was kind of bothering the back of my neck, and also it made it feel like the pack was hanging down low. I know some people do get on with those. Personally, I didn't like it. It's very similar to the Hill People gear kind of setup, but it just wasn't for me. So what I did is I got a pair of these straps, they're individual straps, again from the same company, from Bongo Gear, and these work better for me. They're not the best straps in the world, but they work. So I do find them a little bit wide, and I think they're a little bit flat. They could do a little bit more padding, but they work, they do the job, you know, they're okay. Running down the shoulder straps then, you've got a D-ring on either side, good for securing items, and then you've got 2 lines of web in there, again, you know, attachment points for things, but also you could run, say, a hydration tube through those to secure it. And then you've got a sternum strap there, which is removable and adjustable, as it should be, you know, for everyone's different body types and stuff. That works great. And then there's a piece of elastic in the middle there to help you breathe if you've got that nice and tight across your chest. Okay, one thing that I found a little bit strange was this here. Okay, so what you've got is the normal Fastix buckle there to adjust it, but you've also got one of these kind of, I don't know what they call these buckles, but like a normal buckle here. And the idea is if you don't like this type, you could attach it here instead, or if that breaks, you've got this as a backup. It's something that I've seen on a few kind of American military packs. It's not something we really do in the UK. I do find it a little bit annoying because it kind of gets in the way, this buckle, a little bit, but it does give you the function of being able to switch and change. You know, if you don't like this type, you could use this type and vice versa. So yeah, I'll probably take one of those off at some point and just have one or the other. This is secured then by 2 metal D-rings here at the bottom, which is a great strong attachment point. And I've actually backed it up with another set here, but these are plastic, the second ones. I guess to save a tiny bit of weight, but what they've done is they've given you a second attachment point in case, for whatever reason, the stitching goes on here or it gets damaged by whatever reason. Okay, at the back of the pack here then, the sort of main back part of the pack, I'm going to clear some of this snow off, it's snowing here. You've got some kind of a little bit of padding for your back. It's only minimal, but it does an okay job of protecting your back. And then here you've got a lumbar pad at the bottom here. This lumbar pad is completely removable from Velcro. Personally, that's not bad for kind of civilian use, but I question that for military use a little bit, because you could easily rip that off getting off the back of a vehicle or something like that, or moving around in heavy vegetation, taking it off and stuff, that could potentially get ripped off. So I would rather have just had that sewn on personally. This comes off though, this whole thing here. So this is all velcroed in, super secure, you know, that velcro there is not going to shift unless you're doing what I just did and actually wanted to take it off. But that then makes the waistband totally removable. So this just comes completely off if you want to take it off. So if you're using, say, belt kit or body armour or both, then you could take this off and take it away. I just don't see the point in taking that lumbar pad off, because that could have just been left stitched on, but whatever. The waist strap then, the waist strap's great. And what we've got here then is 2 lines of Pals webbing, so you can put on things like water bottle pouches or admin pouches, stuff like that. And you can see here, these are a couple of little things that I've got from Bongo Gear. What these are then, these attach to the molly and give you basically a horizontal loop, so you can attach a knife in like a normal knife sheath. So these are quite a good idea, and these just have got like a little press stud like that. They wrap through the molly and then back on themselves. So yeah, I will be using these for definite. The waist strap then, it's got a 1.5 inch piece of webbing that you basically pull in from the outside there like that. So to tighten it up, you just basically pull it in like so, like that, to loosen it like so. And that's a lot more ergonomic. That works really well, as opposed to the webbing coming through here and you pull out the way. When you pull in the way, you get a much better kind of pinch in towards your midriff. So that works really, really well. Going into the main compartment of the pack then, got 2 buckles there, opens up, and again you've got this nice tiger stripe material on this particular pack. They've used that for the snow collar, which is great. I think it's just a really nice touch, you know. Instead of it being a plain green, it matches the rest of the pack. I know it's only aesthetic, like I said earlier, but it's just a nice touch. One thing they didn't include was a cinch line going around here, which you do find on packs of this size normally. So personally, I think that would have been a good addition. It doesn't really, you know, it doesn't stop it from doing anything, but it just helps secure the load a little bit better. So going into the main pack then, what we've got, and I'm not going to go through a load out, I'm just going to talk about the features of the pack. So I've got a dry bag with a load of warm gear and stuff in it. If you have a look here then, you've got a pass-through there for a water bladder tube, and then a hanging point there for your water bladder. As we go into the pack then, again I've just got this packed out with all my warm kit and, you know, sleeping bag and stuff like that. What you've got inside here, you can notice there, obviously it's super bright, isn't it? You've got the orange there of the pack, and that's just to help aid you so you can see inside, give you a bit more visibility. So what you've actually got organisation within the inside of the pack. So you've got one inner pouch there at the front end, one at the back end, and obviously this would be often used for a water bladder, and then you've got one on the right, one on the left. Perfect. So this, you know, they fold flat when you're not using them, but they are quite handy for putting things in. You could even use these for, you know, another water bottle or whatever. You could have, say, a waterproof jacket stuffed in this one and grab it out quickly. However you want to pack your gear, you know, it just gives you that option of being able to organise the inside of your pack as well as the outside of the pack. What we've got here as well is this Velcro panel. This is where the inner frame sheet is, and this is it's like a fairly sort of pliable piece of plastic, but it's got, I guess that's aluminium, but some sort of metal stay inside there, and you can mould that to your own body shape, and that just fits in there nicely. So that's the Becker Patrol Pack from Bongo Gear. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to summarise my thoughts on it, how I see it being best used, and also some pros and cons about the pack. Okay then, I think this is a great idea, a great bit of kit for firstly serving people in the military, which is what it was primarily designed for, and also for people wanting to do bushcraft and survival. Okay, because what it does, it gives you great organisation of your gear, and you can basically find stuff without having to delve into the main pack, and potentially doing it, you know, at night, not using any light. That's why it's a good idea for military packs to have all this external organisation. All right, you could use it for backpacking. I don't think it'd be the best choice. When I say backpacking, you know, hiking over long distances, because it's not the lightest pack for the size of what it is. But you know what, a couple of extra pounds isn't going to kill you. So some pros and cons about the pack. Okay, pros: I really like the organisation of this pack. I love all the pouches on it. I really like to be able to get to my gear without having to delve into the main pack, be able to get, say, a waterproof jacket or a water bottle or a med kit. That's really good. The second thing is the size, and that's probably more of a personal thing, but this kind of size, around about 42 litres or so, it's just, I find it great, because what it does is it makes sure that you don't overpack your gear. Okay, you know, a PLC Bergen, you know, what's that, 110 litres or something crazy, something like this makes sure that you keep your stuff nice and compact. If you're going out for like a couple of days, it's a perfect sort of size. It's probably a little bit too small for these sort of cold, really cold conditions, but in normal temperate conditions it's a great size. Okay, the next thing I really like about this pack is all the features and functions. So I've already mentioned all the pouches and stuff, but all the little features and functions built into this pack all over the place that I've detailed throughout this review, it just makes it a great little pack. It's got loads of great little ideas built into it all over the place. And when I've spoken to Tom, the guy that owns the company, and I've given him my feedback about some of the things that I'm, you know, not super happy with, or, you know, it's just my personal opinion, he's listened to that, and he's looking to put that into the next iteration of this pack. So the customer service is something else, to be fair. It's been really good. Okay, a few cons about the pack then. The first con I've got, and the biggest one out of all, is the carriage system. Okay, now these individual straps, these are okay, but they're not groundbreaking. They're okay, they do the job. I just think that if they spent a little bit more time making them a bit less wide, a little bit more padded, they'd be perfect. The other con then is the weight. It's not a light rucksack. 2.9 kilos for a 41 litre rucksack is not particularly light, but then again, it's not uber heavy either, you know. So that's, you know, it depends on how you're using it and what you're using it for. If you need a robust pack for use in harsh environments, this will get the job done. You're not going to be able to use a super light pack in places like the jungle. It'll just get torn up. The third con I've got, which is quite a minor thing really, is the Velcro, or one wrap I think it is, on these straps. Okay, so on a lot of the straps there's this one wrap, but it's quite thin. It definitely needs to be about twice the width of what it is, and that might seem like a really minor point to you, but having used other packs that have got, say, it's about a centimetre thick, as opposed to this is probably about 5-6 millimeters, it just feels too flimsy and too thin to be used for this type of strap. But again, it's just a minor little thing, and I have fed that back to the company, and he did say that he's going to look to improve that point on those straps, and also the fact that they don't have them on all the straps for some reason, majority but not all. So that's my thoughts on the Becker Patrol Pack. As I've said, really great functionality, loads of good features, great organisation, and it seems super robust. I've been using this now for probably about 3.5 months. I've used it in hot conditions, I've used it in cold conditions as we see here, I've used it in the UK, the States, and it stood up really well, and I really like this pack. All I'd say is that I think if they improve the carriage system on this, it'd be pretty much perfect for, you know, if you want to use it for the stated use, for use in like military or bushcraft and survival type use. Anyone out there, if you got one of these packs, what do you think about it? Do you get on with that carriage system? Do you like the way that it's laid out? Let me know what your thoughts are. Put them in the comment section below. Let's hear what you got to say. And as always, stay prepared.